Well, good morning. It's about lunchtime here in Kimball County with KC Jilly. And I thought I'd give you guys my May 1st update on the garden. And I'm going to start with my tomato. All right, this is my shady corner. This is about the last of the light these guys are going to get today. In an hour, all the sun's going to be gone, but these fellas are doing really good. I've got a few tomatoes. I have really trimmed this stuff up so I could see what was going on. I'm finally getting a few flowers on these little stragglers down here on the end. But now it's time I'm going to let everything bush back out. And these are my indeterminates here, at least outside of my greenhouse. And you can see they're putting on flowers as well. But like I say, I've trimmed them all up so much. Now I'm going to let them go a little bit, let them get kind of hairy. I believe these guys have taken, I'm not certain, but we'll shortly find out. Everything's healthy anyway. That's what I'm mostly worried about. Try to keep it good as I can because the heat is definitely coming. This is the sun gold. That guy's doing awesome. First time I ever grew this kind. I've heard enough comments on it. There was no way I could pass it up. Okay, and I relocated my bell peppers because they weren't getting enough sun. They'll have sun all day long. Standing out here in the heat. Let's see if I can get some better pictures. I've got a little baby one that I grew from seed. It's growing. That's going to be green. And I believe this is yellow. You can see it's got one hiding on there. These are lunchbox peppers. And they're gonna be orange, but they're pretty darn close to a bell pepper. And then over here, I've got my reds. Just hopefully they'll get kicking off now that they got a little more sun. I've had them kind of hiding in the shade. Now, I got these guys too. To be honest, I really don't know what everything is anymore. I just wanted a lot of tomatoes and I'm getting them. These are green onions. They're just cheating, getting a little bit of different stuff happening here. And these guys are kicking off. Got some deal. This stuff I grew through the winter and it just looked terrible. Now it's finally kicking off over here. And I planted all this fresh. And it's already almost catching up, won't be long. But my plants have done really well. And my wife, this little ditch right along the fence on this side is radishes that she planted. And I don't know if you can see them. These guys are little bush beans. They're all coming up all along the edge. My little peach from seed's doing well. I'm not sure what kind of peach it is. I'll never know till it becomes adult. I see several different bananas and cannas in here. Excited to see those guys get up. Some of them do produce fruit, so let's see what's up with all that. Her sunflowers are getting a little bit of height on them now. The Florida Prince peach is healthy, doing well. And there was, I thought, a peach or two on it. Not that I'm ready to eat them. This is the first year in, but I would imagine my grandson is helping me with that. My wife's flowers are kicking up and coming on. Aren't they pretty? Sure add a little something different to the garden. Some pretty to go along with the yummy. And at this point, the roses and the elephant ears, the roses are about to start losing. Dadgum elephant ears get crazy. My grandson and I, a couple of days ago, planted 9 different watermelon plants in here. We got a yellow, an orange, and a red. So we'll see what's up. And this is a little volunteer that was growing, so I rocked around it. I'm just gonna leave it alone. See how far I can make it. Got passion vine. It was all over this fence last year. You can't kill that stuff, man. It's growing through the fence. It's outside in my alley. And I relocated. Here's another passion vine. I see. The flower is not out yet, so can't show you how pretty it gets, but I relocated a pomegranate early spring. I saw it coming up, and I just grabbed a dead looking root out of there and I brought it over here, and dad burn it if that thing ain't growing. So I'm gonna have some pomegranates over here. I'm probably gonna relocate it again, to be honest with you, but I'm gonna let it get a little bit more size on it. Here is my bush beans along this fence. They're doing pretty well. Getting up there now. That's about another 4 inches or so, and that's as tall as those guys are gonna get. Now we also came on the inside of the fence, and so far you'll see I've got some cucumbers growing there. You can see these dadgum sunflowers that they just walk up like stairs heading for the roof of this old shed. And these are my indeterminate tomatoes, and I've got some fruit on these guys. They're getting about the right amount of sun and getting some good treatment. Lots of flowers, and almost every one has at least 1 or 2 tomatoes started on it. The basil's getting a little bit of height to it. I put it out here. They say it's a good companion plant, so I started it in the winter and it's came, but to be honest with you, I don't know very much about basil. I like the taste of it in my Italian stuff, but fresh, as far as pruning it and trimming it up and using it, that's something that I'm gonna have to do a little bit more research. The good thing is, with all you guys on YouTube and those millions of videos, I should be able to find something. Now these here, these are the Kentucky pole beans. They'll grow up this fence where this old vine is at the time. And I've got several of them coming along. They're doing pretty good. But all my pepper plants, tomatoes, are doing pretty well over here. Got a few tomatoes almost everywhere I look. That makes me happy, because a spring harvest where I'm at, it's just dead burn near impossible. And I was watching these aromas here. You can see these guys, and they're spreading out pretty good. Excuse me. I was watching a video with Gary Pilachek, and he was talking about letting the dudes hit the ground when the leaves fall, and just burying the stem and let it continue on. One plant looks like 4 or 5 as it goes across there. I've done this before in the past on accident with a yellow pear tomato, but I'm gonna do that. I think instead of staking that stuff in the back, it's gonna become a jungle. I'm just gonna let it touch the ground and cover it up and keep going and see how many of those aromas I can get. Got my little banana pepper here. He's coming. Got a little something on him. I like banana peppers. They're fun to snack on in the garden. They're not too hot. Even my grandson can pick those without a problem. Okay. Now, I don't recall if this is zucchini or squash, but they're just now starting to get a little bit of size to them. Both of them look about the same. The one over here is a little bit bigger and bushier, but we'll see. And here are more volunteer tomatoes that I just thought, you know what, I'm just gonna stick them in and do what I can do with them and see how long they can make it, because I really want tomatoes. So, like I say, that guy looks pretty good. More volunteers that I found. And there's more growing. I keep finding them. I think they're the yellow pear. That guy is something else. That looks a little rough. Looks like the water got it. All right. The pomegranate tree. This is the original. It started the other. It's doing okay. Pink Berkeley tie-dye. Look at the cluster on this dude. Good gosh, if all those tomatoes make, I am going to be one happy guy. I'm going to have to reinforce that guy. Hoping for the best. And Aunt Ruby's German Green is healing up from the Anatolian Shepherd attack. But it's looking good. And like I say, I've done lots of trimming on these guys so I could see what was going on. And now I'm going to back off. I'm going to give this stuff maybe a month besides picking suckers before I do any trimming. And the heat's starting to come on here in Kimball County, and so I know what happens when it gets hot. Having a little bit of extra foliage would probably be a good idea. This one here, what is this guy? I want to say this is Virginia Sweet. I'm not positive, but I think it is. Okay, and then I have this one. And this one here is a Ananas Noir, the black pineapple. Okay. This one's putting off. This is the black creme. I've grown these before last year, but I didn't get any in the springtime. It was a rough year. It's got the biggest tomato on it right now at this point, but some of my flowers, I think they're pollinated, but I'm not positive. Like I say, this fluctuation in temperature is playing games with them. Here's another sun gold. I don't know if you can see all those guys are making. Get that guy focused a little bit. There's some more there. These tickle me. I really like the way they make. They look really cool. It's like they were built for snacking, you could tell. And this is actually a determinate. I'm not sure. Maybe, what do you call them? Celebrity. They look really pretty like that. It could be early girl, better boy, I don't know. But it was so big that to be able to get in there and see everything, I trimmed it up. I know you're not really supposed to cut them, but dad burn, this guy was becoming a jungle, so I at least sucked it back together and tried to make it similar to one stem, at least hold it all together so I can follow it up as it grows. I have a single little blueberry down here and some more flowers, but it's finally getting off of its butt and growing up too, heading for the sun. But this stuff in here has really got some height on it in the last month. I mean, they've grown a lot. Also, over here, I've got grapevine. I saw some growing on a fence on the side of the road, to be honest with you, over near Fredericksburg. And I stopped and I cut a little piece off and I followed the instructions I saw on a YouTube video, and I'm hoping for the best. Maybe I can get some grapevines going. And my mother, before she passed away a few years ago, had a beautiful rosemary plant in her yard, and since she's been gone, my stepfather has not been able to keep up with it too well, and it was just about gone. I saw a limb or two on it, and so I stuck those guys in there too, and I'm hoping maybe I can get a rosemary bush out of it. And my brother-in-law was planting his Esperanza yesterday, and he broke a limb off, and my wife said she wanted it, so we're trying it as well. She's doing this side, so we'll see if hers come along. We'll see if mine come along. I hope they both come along. Okay, so over here in this lonely corner, I've got asparagus. And as you can see, it is seeding as well. And I transplanted it from a pot. It was established already, so I tried to do it right. I've got some irrigation down underneath there. You can't see it, but it's taken well. It looks a little bit yellow, but not too bad. I think it's going to be just fine. And I'm going to learn all about asparagus. So in the meantime, I know it bushes out into a big fern. And so I put it all by itself back here in this corner. That way it won't be in the way. And if I get this stuff figured out, I can harvest it and gets plenty of sun. And I'm gonna take it on, we'll see. Now the potato plants, these guys, this is an experiment for me as well. Never grew tomatoes or potatoes. And so I wanted to see, and I'm telling you, these guys have grown a bunch too. I have mounded these leaves and straw up around it, and that's as high as I'm gonna go with it. I'm thinking maybe by the end of this month, this batch will be ready, and I will use this ground for something else next time. But this was been a fun experiment so far, so I'm hoping I get a lot of potatoes. We'll find out. Everything looks healthy though, and just bunching those leaves and the straw around it looks plenty healthy. And here is where my bell peppers were. And so I took those guys out because right now it looks fine, but in the next probably hour, this goes dark the rest of the day. Over here, it's just total shade. So I thought, you know what? I'm gonna use this to plant lettuce and spinach and beets and some of the stuff that maybe my temperatures are a little bit too hot to be getting it at this time of year. So I'm gonna try it in shade, and if it's still too much sun, I have a shade cloth that I will put over this whole section once those potatoes are gone, and this will turn into my winter crops in the summer. So it's an experiment, we'll find out, but hopefully get some spinach, some beets, and there's like 3 different kinds of lettuce going here, so we'll see what's up. This is round 2 of potatoes, and you can tell it's already shady over here in this section, so I don't know how this will work out, but we'll see. These are Yukon Gold. I like them so much, I thought I'm gonna do a second round and see. My wife's got more radishes here. And these are actually all the ones that were thinned out from up here where she planted all these guys. So all of these have been thinned out, and that's what went down there. And now they've got enough room that they ought to develop into pretty good sized radishes here. All of these are marigolds back here. And as soon as those guys get big enough, I'll spread them all over the yard, around the garden, close to the tomatoes and such. And hopefully that'll work out good. This stuff back in here, this is all perpetual spinach. So that stuff's supposed to be able to take the heat, and it's even perennial. If I let it grow up and go to seed and die this winter, then next year it should come back. And if it does, I'll plant it out in a spot or 2 once I figure it out. I'm still kind of figuring out my landscape. My wife has a few wildflowers in these starting off, so they're starting now. They've showed up. I bought 1 or 2 of these strawberries. I think, let's see. This is one, the Chandler, and this one here as well. It is an Elon strawberry. Those 2 I bought from a nursery, and they had the slowest start, but they look the best right now, and we'll see what happens. These others I bought from my local grocery store as soon as the season opened. They had a lot of strawberries out there, and we have grazed off of those guys, but not all of them are making it. It's like they give what they got, then they pooter out on me. So I really prefer the nursery ones, and I don't know which ones are ever bearing and June bearing. I would say the ones from the store are probably June bearing, and I'm guessing that maybe these guys might be ever bearing. I don't know, we'll find out, but I'm gonna try to get the stuff that sticks around, keeps giving. Here are some more thinned radishes that I found space for, and this is what is it, Bloomsdale spinach? I can't recall. It's a little bit different, and I had so much spinach from the perpetual too. I spread it out in here among the cilantro. Now down below here, this little section right here, eventually there will be cilantro right back here. I've got 3 rows of beets kind of right through here. And over here, in this little section, I've got parsley, chives, and there's something else, but I can't remember. All my little herb stuff. And it's because it gets really shady over here, and I'm really hoping some of this stuff that's cool weather will make it through there. So we'll find out. Our fig tree is doing just fine. I'll end up having to move this bench and this little setup, but I wanted to give it a good chance to kick off. This is just its first, we put it in last year, but in the middle of the summer, so it's around in its first year now, and all the tall stuff died off, and this is what's coming back. So I want to give it a good start before I get carried away, opening it up to the straight sun. Here is my another Florida Prince. It was the latest starting one. I was kind of worried about it, but I really think it's going to be just fine. As far as fruit, there's 1 or 2 peaches on it. I'm not too worried about it this year. Just really want it to get established. And as you can see down here, more volunteer tomatoes. They're all over the place. Here I've got my jalapeno bush that was overwintered. It's doing okay. Kicking off some stuff. This is another banana pepper. It hasn't given me a pepper yet, but it looks like it's about ready to. Okay, they're down low because I trimmed them up after overwintering, but they're fixing to start kicking off. If I put them out in the sun, I think it'd do a lot better. They'd come on up. But in the meantime, this one is a Serrano, and I want to say that this really looks like Serrano too, but I'm not positive. They turned out a lot different last year. I think it was this one, and they got bigger and longer, and another volunteer or two, of course. Here are the cayennes. Those guys, they like this old shady stuff better than the others. No telling if they'd do better in the sun or not. But and this is another mystery one. It kind of looked like a Serrano, but I'm not positive. All that stuff was overwintered. And here is my just jambalaya of all different flavored peppers. I'm just gonna wait till they get big enough to talk about them. So, but they're making it. And here is my Saturn peach tree. Let's see if I can step back a little bit and give you a better look at it. If you'll notice, I do have peaches on it. You see the shape of these guys. It's not the same as a lot of peaches. They're a little bit different. You can just kind of chew around the seed there and everything comes. But what I was really noticing is every year it seems like it's getting a little bit worse, the chlorosis. Yellow with the green vein there. And so I've ordered iron. I also got some manganese sulfate and sprinkled around the bottom just a couple of days ago. I just put a little tiny bit because I'm not really familiar with it. So I'm gonna just ease into this and see if I can get this guy to not only produce, but look a little healthier. Because not all of the leaves have chlorosis. You see some, these guys, they're really dark green. You can see the difference here. So if you know something about this stuff, if you've experienced this and you can help me, I would appreciate any help you can give me. Thank you. Now, my wife at Halloween had some little white pumpkins. They were kind of decorative, little ornamental things. I didn't even realize they were real. And she threw the things down and the seeds busted and these guys went crazy. So I said, you know what? I'm just gonna throw them in this tub and get them out of the way. And they're hanging on. And you can see that's trash. You know what I mean? That's like leftover junk in there and a little bit of rainwater. Also, when I went to put my grapevine in that other tub, I pulled out the leftovers of spinach that I had in there. And as you can see, even it's hanging on and trying to put off new leaves. So we'll see what happens there. More various peppers. I'm waiting for them to get a little bit bigger. And another volunteer, which came from right next to this new one. And this guy is the Sweet Heat. And it's putting off. They're just shorties right now. All right, then I have my blueberry. It's actually maintaining. I'm really surprised. The pH is not right here. I'm trying to get it there. In fact, I'm actually going to plant it on the other side of that AC unit in the corner over there where the cardboard is. I'm preparing that soil for next year. So if this guy, there's actually 3 in here, if they can just hang on, and they're staying green, and I've got leaves, but they don't look healthy at all. So I'm just hoping it'll hang on and then we'll go from there. All right, this here is my wife's wisteria. We used to have an old fence panel here, and it was grown into it so thick, it was taking over my home. It grew up this entire wall and was trying to grow underneath between the sheets of tin and my eave right there. It grew around the corner. It sealed off this gate as well to where I couldn't use it. Grew down the fence, and a separate root went from right there, ran all the way along back behind that AC unit, and was turning back this way, and I had to cut it off. It was just too much. So I started over, and I thought, you know, if this thing's gonna grow crazy, it's so hot, and I've got this shade cloth on my greenhouse, but I got this old conduit, and I just left the junky wire that was in it there. I thought, you know what? I'll let this guy, this wisteria, grow up. I'm gonna have a little homemade arch set up here, and I'll let it grow all over my greenhouse. I don't care. When the time comes I need to do something about it, I'll take care of it, just like I always have. My wife's cannas, they're getting a little size to them now. All right, and here we have some cucumbers. They're moving on along a little bit. And this guy's almost stunted. This one here is okra, but it's so slow. For some reason this year, last year seemed like they really took off. I say that, but it is only May 1st, and I got such a big head start. I'm in a hurry, I guess, but these cucumbers, they're all doing pretty darn good. We're gonna try to make pickles this year. There's another okra. You see, it's got a little bit more size on it, but we've got them all down the fence line, and hopefully we'll be able to make some pickles. And here, it's not much to see at this time, but I've got watermelons, a couple different kinds. Canary, yellow canary. I've got, what is it, sugar baby, cantaloupe, all kind of stuff growing right in here. This is gonna kind of be my little melon patch, and we'll see what happens with that stuff. It's just getting going right now, so it's just tall enough I felt safe putting straw around it where I could see it. And these two jugs here, I've got two little orange trees, and I know nothing about them as well. I'm just showing them as much love as I can right now and doing my research, and later on we'll see what happens, see if I can keep them going. And last but not least, my wife also threw one of those dang pumpkins here, and there are those dadgum things. Come Halloween, I mean, I could probably sell those little guys if it's those same little white ones. I'm not sure. I don't know much about pumpkins either, so. But I know one thing, they like this soil here in Kimball County. And they seem to like it over here on the, what is this? This is the southeast side of my house. Actually, the northeast side of my house, excuse me. But it's shaded a lot in the day, but right now it's pretty good, so we'll see what happens. Anyway, thank you guys for stopping by and looking at my update. If you can answer any of my questions, I appreciate it. I'd like to learn more about the chlorosis with the peach tree and what you use maybe to heal your stuff up and keep it healthy. But have a good one, and this was the May 1st update 2023.